The fighting game renaissance of the 90s saw an influx of major game makers throwing their hat into the virtual fighting ring, and Sega was there to make their mark on gaming history. Virtua Fighter would help solidify Sega's arcade dominance, not only in producing major hits and ushering new 3D tech, but that they could also make a great fighting game. The Virtua Fighter series would become a staple for Sega during this time, with sequels, home ports, and spin-offs. But Virtua Fighter wasn't Sega's only 3D fighter. Built upon the foundation of Yu Suzuki's groundbreaking title, Sega would take the formula, add a little more speed, and give it some attitude.
Fighting Vipers.
Released in arcades in late 1995, Fighting Vipers is a one-on-one 3D fighting game developed by Sega AM2. It would make its way to the Sega Saturn later in 1996. The game sees 8 young combatants enter a citywide fighting tournament across Armstone City to become the ultimate fighting viper. About as basic of a premise for a fighting game you can need, but a premise nonetheless. The game can be seen as more of a visceral take on Virtua Fighter. While the game has a deliberate pace to its combat as well as ring-outs, Fighting Vipers puts a greater emphasis on speed and aggression. One of the main ways they went about this is making all the fighting arenas enclosed, ensuring that all fights are super up close and are more likely to be decided by knockout. Another differentiator from Virtua Fighter is the use of breakable armor. Every fighter wears a set of battle armor, covering their upper and lower halves. Over the course of the fight, armor will become damaged and can even be broken off with a powerful heavy attack. The armor isn't just for show. Broken armor will leave you open to take more damage, so you've got to be on your toes. Each of the default 8 fighters have their own unique armor and fighting style. Picky wears skateboarding gear and uses his skateboard for some of his heavy attacks. Raxel wears a glam rocker getup with an electric guitar. Candy, or Honey depending on who you ask, is a fashionista who designed her armor inspired by her fashion line. Each of the characters have their own unique backgrounds and reasons for taking part in the tournament, and it's cool how their armor sets accurately reflect their personalities too. I know, fighting game character 101, but it's still pretty cool. The Saturn version of Fighting Vipers has the basic bells and whistles you'd expect for a fighting game. You got your standard arcade mode, a dedicated 2-player versus mode, team battle mode, training mode, and a neat little playback mode to watch saved replays of your past fights. The main meat here is in the arcade mode, which has you fighting through the main 8 fighters in a set order, so a mirror match is inevitable on your first go around. Each fighter has their own unique arena, for the most part, with each one taking place in a different area of Armstone City. This all leads up to a final battle at the top of the city tower against BM. As far as 90s fighting game boss characters go, he's as overpowered as you'd expect. What I love about this final showdown though is that the last couple of stages leading up to this fight all take place while you're ascending the tower. Completing arcade mode will unlock Mauler, a slightly toned down version of BM, but still an incredibly powerful character. The internet says you can unlock BM by completing arcade mode on the hardest difficulty, but I'm good. Alright, let's talk about the actual fighting. It is a fighting game after all. If you're already familiar and comfortable with Virtua Fighter's mechanics, you'll feel right at home here. Fighting Vipers uses the same 3-button control scheme as VF, a punch, a kick, and a block button. Like I said earlier, the pace of these fights are way faster here than in Virtua Fighter. Moves seem to just flow into each other more seamlessly, and understanding each character's specific heavy attacks is incredibly easy. Each character has multiple heavy attacks at their disposal. These can be used to break armor and, most importantly, act as a parry. These can vary from popping them into the air, rushing them down hitting them with a slide, or launching them into the walls, with a knockout blow blasting them right through the barrier. It's pretty sick. These can be incredibly easy to learn and master, with some characters' heavy moves being as simple as holding a direction and hitting an attack button. Nailing how and when to use these is critical to winning fights, with some bouts getting down to the wire and being decided by a well-timed parry. It's super intense and incredibly fun. Now I mentioned Mauler and BM as secret unlockable characters earlier, but Fighting Vipers has a couple other secrets up its sleeve. It's not a 90s 3D fighting game without a big old polygonal bear as a playable character, and Fighting Vipers delivers with its own weird twist. Kuma-chan is unlocked over the course of playing the game, and is the bear mascot seen in the background of the old Armstone stage. As you can see, it doesn't animate. The model just moves around floating in space as you fight. Kuma-chan shares the same moveset as Sandman, so it's not entirely unique, but it's still a fun little extra. Also, its alternate outfit turns Kuma-chan into Panda-chan, holding a little beach ball. The best secret, though, is exclusive to the Japanese version. You may have noticed an abundance of Pepsi advertising in the game, mostly on Picky's skateboard and on signs and trucks in his stage. When you reach the stage in arcade mode and throw the fight, a new challenger appears. With his theme song blaring through the character select screen, Pepsi Man appears, challenging you to a fight. Defeating him makes him a fully playable character. Just like Kuma-chan, he shares a similar moveset with another character, in this case Tokyo. But he kicks ass! He even does that one thing he does in the commercials as his victory pose. Yeah, that thing. One of my favorite secrets though is in the playback mode. I only discovered this when recording footage for this video, but there are a ton of saved replays from the game's development staff. Most of them just show some wacky stuff, or how the devs would cheese their way through a fight. It's really fun to watch and see how they exploited their own game. Outside of the Saturn fanbase, Fighting Vipers is primarily known for having Pepsi Man in it, and I can't really blame them honestly. An outsider looking in would probably just toss this aside as another mid-90s 3D fighter, but Fighting Vipers stands on its own among the rest. You've got a rock-solid fighting game with easy-to-learn controls, memorable characters, a great soundtrack, and rock-solid performance to hold it all together. It runs great, it plays great, and should absolutely be in your Saturn library. With Fighting Vipers, Sega AM2 now had 2 successful fighting franchises on the Saturn. So where do you go from here? The answer seemed obvious. But I still gotta talk about Virtua Fighter Kids first.